That was new. Did you hear that?
Yeah, I don't know what the hell that was.
All right. Welcome to the Unbearable podcast. I'm Ryan Voss. With me, as always, is Drew Testa. Drew, how you doing?
Pretty good. Glad to be back. Glad that it's football season again, and glad we're back to making these videos.
No, I'm so hyped that it's football season. Like life just kind of feels normal when it's football season. You know what I'm
You
saying?
get your set pattern. You know what you do, what days you do what. Yeah, it's good. It's good to be back.
There's some normalcy again.
Yeah.
Um, right off the bat, I want to talk about last season.
Okay.
The Chicago Bears were 8-8 and they made the playoffs, except they were an extremely bad 8-8.
And
And
an
they
extremely
were,
bad playoff team too.
yeah, they did not
Yeah.
deserve to be in the playoffs. That being said, I truly believe that this year's a better team, but I
Really?
don't know if we go 500 to make the playoffs. What do you
Well,
think?
I'll show you one thing. We're not going to go 8-8 again this year. I
Yeah,
can tell you that for a fact right
that's
off
for
the
sure.
bat. I mean, yeah, there's the one bit. I think the only thing I would say is I think we're deeper in a lot of areas, specifically a wide receiver for sure. But I think the player that we lost, being Kyle Fuller, is the better than anyone we picked up, beside maybe Justin Fields, which I mean, it's obviously
All right, let's go position by position, because what do you do? You just think we're going to be a better team, or do you think we're going to be worse right off the
I
bat?
think our roster is worse, but I would like to see how the team reacts to playing with Andy Dalton as opposed
You
to
think our
Trubisky.
roster's worse?
Yeah, in my
Okay.
opinion. Yeah.
All right. Let's just go through this. I think we're going to be a better team than last year. I think we might be a better losing team than we were a bad 500 team. That makes sense. But here we go.
Yeah,
Quarterback.
game stuff. Yeah.
Quarterback. We had Andy Dalton and Justin Fields. To me, that's a big upgrade over Nick Foles and Mitch Trubisky.
Well, yeah, yeah. But Nick
Okay.
Foles is still around though.
Yeah, Nick Foles is the
Yeah.
best third string quarterback of all time, and he's on our team.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Whatever that counts for.
So we have a plus at quarterback. Running back, Tariq Cohen was hurt. He should be back at some point this year. And we added Damian Williams. I like Damian Williams more than Cordero Patterson. Same with the addition of Khalil Herbert. Maybe he could be something for us. You like Cordero better?
Only because of the returning ability.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. But just from the running back position, I
Oh,
think
then
we get a
yeah,
lot
yeah,
more.
usually Damian Williams, yeah.
So we agree that running
Yeah.
back's a plus.
Yeah.
You already said off the jump, wide receiver's better. Why don't you preview the wide receiver position?
I mean, Daz Newsome, I think will be good whenever he gets to get on the field, which I'm pretty sure he's still injured.
He's on the practice squad right now.
Oh, okay, okay. Well, then, yeah, I think he has potential, especially because he's fast. Demir Bird, he was solid for New England last year, especially with no quarterback. He had a couple games where he popped. Marquise Goodwin, he'll always have a game or two, like a big game a year, I feel like. And then I think Darnell Mooney's going to make a big improvement. So I think the main improvement will be internally with Mooney, but I think we also picked up, like, I'd rather have Demir Bird than Anthony Miller, you know? So
Exactly. I think between Demir Bird, Marquise Goodwin, I think those are Rashad Perriman.
Yeah.
Yeah, between those three guys, I think those three guys are going to give us more than we got out of Ridley, which is absolutely nothing. Wims, which was just a headache, and Miller
Negative.
also a headache. So
negative or nothing would have been a plus compared to what we got out of Wims.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So we'll also see. We got Rodney Adams on the practice squad. People hyped about him. Same with Daz Newsome. Maybe these guys will one day find their spot on the active roster and go for us. I think we got some intrigue at the wide receiver position. And honestly, for me, Darnell Mooney doesn't have to do anything except for what he did last year. If he's better, that's great. But what he got last year, I'm happy with, especially as a fifth rounder.
Yeah, there's a clip. I don't know if you could edit it in or if it would even be possible, but if you guys who are watching can go find it. In our Bears versus Rams preview last year, I said watch for Darnell Mooney to make a double move and try to take advantage of Jalen Ramsey's aggressiveness. And now it's like a meme in like Bears fandom to post a video of Darnell Mooney making a double move on Jalen Ramsey. So I just want to say I did call it.
I'm glad that you brought that up because I don't think we're going to do game previews this year, but we should talk about it. I mean, that storyline of Darnell Mooney and Jalen Ramsey is something to watch.
Yeah.
Because people are saying that Darnell Mooney is Jalen Ramsey's daddy. And you can tell that it's gotten under Jalen Ramsey's skin. So that's going to be an awesome matchup to watch this week, Sunday Night Football. Side tangent, I will be at the Colts season opener. So hopefully I'm back in time before the Bears kick off. If not, you're gonna have to watch the first quarter extra closely while I'm making my way back into town.
I'll try my
All right.
best.
Also, I think Marquise Goodwin is going to be similar to Taylor Gabriel.
I think Gabriel's a better like overall receiver, like complete package in terms of like route running and all that stuff. But Goodwin is definitely faster than Taylor Gabriel, which is like crazy to say because Taylor Gabriel was really fast, but and
Yeah.
Marquise Goodwin was like an Olympic sprinter. Like so, it really doesn't get much faster than that.
All right. So we were already better at quarterback. We're already better at running back. We're already at wide receiver. Now it brings us to tight end. We got back Jimmy Graham and Cole Kmet. And then we also have Jesse James, Jesper Horsted, and JP Holtz on the roster. For me, Graham, just keep using him in the red zone. If he has this red zone role like last year, cool with me. Kmet, we talked about Kmet a lot last year. We liked what we saw. We thought some Bears fans were being a little unfair to Kmet, and we were just saying, wait for year 2. Let's see what he does. So I'm still on track. I think he's still going to have a good second year. We'll wait and see. And then Jesse James really looked like a player in the preseason, so we'll see what we get out of him. What do you
Yeah,
think?
when Jesse James was on Pittsburgh, he was like a pretty like I mean he was nothing special, but if that's your number 3 tight end and he could play like how he played in Pittsburgh, I mean that's you can't really ask for much more than that. I mean the main thing is just going to be Cole Kmet's development, how he progresses from year 1 to year 2, and that's basically going to tell the story of our tight ends this year.
All right. That brings us to the offensive line, which we've lost Bobby Massey and Charles Leno, which some people may not say those are huge losses, but this is the first position where I think we regressed. We would probably be better if Tevin Jenkins was able to play. We'll see. Hopefully he's able to play at some point this season, but instead we have Jason Peters coming into that left tackle spot. We got James Daniels at left guard, Sam Mustipher, who stepped up big time last year at center and is going to get a shot back there. Right guard, we got Cody Whitehair moving over. I don't think he's played. Yeah, he hasn't played right guard really much. And then we have Jermaine Ifedi as the right tackle. What do you think?
I mean, it's not good, right? Like, we don't have to sugarcoat anything. Our line is like pretty bad, and I don't expect it to be any better than last year. And last year was bad. And
Last year was horrible, but
yeah,
everyone's talking about how bad our line is. Do you think it's going to be worse this year than last year?
I think it's going to look a lot worse, especially with Andy Dalton playing because Mitch gave you ability to run around, buy some extra time. Dalton's not going to do that. So I think it's going to look worse. I don't know if the actual blocking will be worse. But I think it's going to make it look worse on TV, at least until Fields gets in there. And I know you talked about us losing Leno and Massey, and that's the biggest. I think the biggest loss was drafting Tevin Jenkins and then not being able to use him. Because I think he would be better than both of those guys.
For me, last year there were so many injuries. For the most part, I think we'll have some stability on the offensive line. We're a little weak at depth, but really for me, the biggest question is the left tackle spot. But I'm going to say that maybe we were better off last year. I mean, our offensive line, I think we could agree, lost us games last year. But I'm not going to say that's a positive. It's a slight negative for me. I don't know about you.
I mean, it couldn't get much worse. So even if it's worse, is it really going to make a difference considering how bad it was last year? Probably not. So the offensive line we all know is probably the biggest weakness of this team. That's not a secret. So.
All right. So everything in the offense has improved, at least on paper, as we see it right now, except for the offensive line. Now let's take a look at the defense. Defensive line. There's so many guys on this D line. I don't even know where to start, but I have to say that we are better because Eddie Goldman is back in the picture.
I would say it neutralizes because we lost War Robertson Harris and Joseph Urban. And I like Eddie Goldman. I think he's good, but those are 2 guys that we lost that aren't going to be like easy to replace. But one thing that Pace has been able to do to his credit is have really good defensive line depth. That's something we've always had since he's been the GM. So I wouldn't be surprised if he just found some guys and they ended up being decent third down pass rushers or run stuffers for us this year and fill those guys' roles.
We got Tonga, who seems like he might be a guy who made the active roster. We got Mario Edwards Jr., who they re-signed even after he had some, I think, legal issues last year. He was suspended for 2 games, but the Bears said not giving up on them. So they got a couple guys. That's Ryan Pace's specialty right there, is finding veteran defensive linemen for cheap. So yeah, Brent Urban, Roy Robinson Harris, big losses, but I think this D line, there's no way it's worse. So I'm gonna have to say it's better, especially because Goldman's back.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I just think losing those two players are going to make a bigger difference than maybe people are realizing. But I also think having Eddie Goldman back is also going to make a bigger difference than people maybe want to realize.
That's
So
fair.
we're going to just play that one out.
So let's go outside linebackers. We still got Khalil Mack. We still got Robert Quinn. And the player of note that I'm going to highlight would be Travis Gibson. People are really hyping him up.
Is that, I don't even know who that is.
So he was a pick last year, and then he didn't really do much. He kind of had to adjust to the NFL, bulk up, and then in preseason, apparently PFF was giving him like crazy grades, and some Bears fans were hyping him up. So we'll see what he can do. Maybe he'll make up for some of uh, Robert Quinn's shortfalling. So I really can't say that outside linebacker is a negative as long as you got Khalil Mack on the team.
Right. But it's very obviously Khalil Mack and everyone else, like at the outside linebacker.
Right.
So we just got to hope that someone, or even if it's a rotation type system, that we can get somewhat pressure opposite of Mack, and I feel like we'll be okay.
Linebacker, we have Roquan Smith, Danny Trevathan starting the season on the IR. And then to fill the hole, we have Alec Ogletree and Christian Jones. What do you think about that? I mean, think it's got to be a negative.
Right. I mean, Trevathan is one of the emotional leaders of our defense. He always seems to be getting the players pumped up. I wouldn't say he's one of the most talented players on our defense, at least not in this stage of his career. But he's a smart player. He's not going to make mental mistakes. He's versatile. And Roquan, I mean, he obviously had a really good year last year, especially towards the back half of the season in particular. So he's just going to have to continue to step up until Trevathan can come back.
Yeah, I would say it is a plus because we have more depth, but Trevathan's starting the year on IR and just kind of getting older in age and regressing. He looked a step behind last year at times.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think we're gonna have to call that a negative. And then cornerback, that is just straight up negative. We have Jalen Johnson, which Jalen Johnson is making a case for a top 10 cornerback in the league, in my opinion.
He played like 10 games in his whole career.
I don't care. Ryan Pace felt strong enough that he can lock it down by himself. So we got Jalen Johnson, and then we got whatever guy of the week's going to go out there and try to do something. Right. I mean, it's probably Kendall Vildor, but
the thing is, there's going to be a lot of people getting opportunities to step up and play outside cornerback opposite of Johnson for us this year. So it's going to be interesting to see who could like take a stranglehold of that job. Because right now, like, yeah, you said they're going with Vildor in the beginning, but I don't think that that's their long-term plan is to have him, be the everyday or every week, I should say, I guess, starter for a long time.
Yeah. I mean, that is a glaring hole. Let's see. Let's hope Vildor establishes himself, but I wouldn't be surprised if some point in the season we're signing a veteran or we're trying to acquire someone via trade or something like that. Duke Shelley.
Keep your eye on too. If Stephon Gilmore does become available by the Patriots, that would be someone I would really like. I mean, obviously it's easy to say, "Oh, go get one of the best corners in the league," but I mean, if it's a glaring need for us and cornerbacks, I mean, I know Jalen Ramsey was given up for quite a bit, but he was a lot younger and he hadn't been paid yet. So I don't think it would cost as much as people think to get Gilmore. And if he becomes available and we can get him for like a second round pick, I would jump all over that.
That is definitely a guy that Pace likes because he offered him more money than the Patriots did when he was a free agent from Buffalo. The problem with that is the Bears have to be winning at that point for me to like that trade because they will probably have to give up a second or third rounder, in my opinion, because they were asking for a first originally. No one bought, so the price is going to go down, especially for half the season. Maybe he could go for like a fourth round. We'll see. But the Bears have to be winning. I will be mad if the Bears aren't winning and they make that trade because then that's just a trade out of desperation.
Well, I honestly don't even think they'd have to be winning, but let's just say it's the trade line like week 8 or they push it back because of the extra week. So I'm just gonna go ahead and assume it's week 8. If we're like, even if we're like 4-5 or 3-6 or whatever, but Justin Fields just came in and shown promise at that point, I wouldn't mind trading for him so that we have him next year and start bulking up even before the offseason.
Yeah. All right, let's move on. Safety, no changes there. It's the same crew as last year. My only thing is I think Eddie Jackson should be better this year.
Well, he needs to be. I mean, I don't want to sit here and slander him all day, but last year was, I mean, in my opinion, his worst season since he's came in the league, at least to me. So if he can go back to the Eddie Jackson from 2019, then in 2018, then yeah, I mean, we're going to have a top 5 safety. But if he plays the way he played last year, then safeties, especially without Fuller, he's going to have to do a lot more work, cover a lot more ground now since we have a weaker spot at cornerback. So I mean, it's all on his shoulders. We just have to see how he plays.
Yeah, the good thing going is Sean Desai is someone that knows Eddie Jackson well and knows how Eddie prefers to play because Sean Desai was here during Eddie Jackson's best playing days. So hopefully they can get back on the same page and get Eddie doing what he likes to do because Eddie Jackson under Chuck Pagano just was not it.
No, he wasn't.
All right, so I'm not going to talk about special teams. I feel pretty good about our special teams except for punt returner.
The best returner in the league we just lost, though. That's pretty significant.
Yeah, we could talk about punt returner, but
we don't even know who that's going to be yet, even though. I mean,
well, that's why they got that guy off the Rams practice squad. I can't say his name.
Oh,
it's a hard name.
Oh, okay. I thought it was.
We'll see. We'll see Sunday night. So
yeah.
There's a new segment I want to do this year.
Okay.
And if you're a subscriber on our YouTube, you get to ask us our question. So ask us a question. So our first question from a subscriber comes from Steven Bozaki, and he asks us, do we believe if this is actually Aaron Rodgers' last season in Green Bay?
Yeah, I do. I think he's just so petty to now, even if the Packers were to go 18-0, win the Super Bowl, and he were to win MVP, I don't think he would, as a guy who would want to go back on his word no matter what. So I think if anything else, just for pride's sake, he would leave.
That's a very good take and something I'd have to agree with. Potential landing spots. I mean, it's hard to see it in a crystal ball.
Denver makes a lot of sense. I mean, just in Denver, if I had to guess right now, but outside of that, I mean, you have to see who's available at the end of the year and who needs a quarterback. But if you had to ask me right now, I would probably lean towards Denver or the Raiders.
All right, last question. What's your outlook on this season? What are you hoping to see? What do you think?
I'm hoping to see Justin Fields at least 6 to 8 games. I'm hoping bare minimum would be nice.
There.
And I would like to see Khalil Mack get back to double-digit sacks this year.
Okay, agreed. For me, like I said this off the top, I think we're going to be a better team than last year. Our record might not reflect that. It's hard for me to be excited about this season, to be completely honest with you. I'm not really excited. Obviously, I'm going to be hyped. I'm going to enjoy myself watching Bears football, but I don't have the hopes of the last 2 or 3 seasons, you know? So like you said, all we can hope for this season is that Justin Fields improves, he gets some play time, and he looks promising for the future. I think that's it. Any final thoughts?
No, I mean, it feels like Christmas Day is coming early. Honestly, like I'm just so excited, and I mean, I'm just really hoping that it's maybe. I mean, our expectations, like we said, are low, but maybe the Bears can exceed them. You know, you never know.
They made the playoffs last year with Trubisky and Nick Foles. This year they have better quarterbacks, so I think they can do it. I do. I don't know if they will. So that just brings us to win total. I think I could speak for the both of us. We see them somewhere between 7 and 10 or 9 and 8. Would you say?
I think our floor would be 6 wins only, but more or less, yeah.
Okay. All right. We will be back probably Sunday, most likely Monday or sometime after the Bears game, play the Rams. We will talk about the game, and we'll see you guys then. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe and be a friend and tell a friend about the Unbearable podcast. Oh, shoot, I forgot how to do this.